questions on creatine that were remaining or came through on messages and some other things to consider. And the link I shared yesterday about creatine through a female life wasn't working, so I'm going to try to reshare it again. And hopefully that works for you. So one of the things that came through in messages and other questions was about bloating and water retention. And yes, that does happen with creatine, usually in the beginning. And after a few weeks, it should normalize and your body should get used to it. But also, if it's working and you're resistance training and you're gaining lean mass, you might also see that reflected on your scale if you feel like you're gaining weight in that sense, which is the goal, to gain muscle. And it's about wrapping your head around the fact that the scale and the number doesn't depict changes that could be happening metabolically and physically when you create lean mass. So don't be quick to throw it out in the short term for that short-term discomfort for all the long-term benefits. And the other thing is, if it's uncomfortable to you, remember, like, there are no hard and fast rules. Decrease that dose for yourself maybe and play around with that and see how that feels in the 3-gram range. And maybe that's a more comfortable place for you to sit at. Now, the other question was on creatine and coffee, and one person asked if it was okay, which the study specifically, like, does coffee negate the benefits of creatine? Like, that is fine. Somebody else messaged me and wanted me to tell everybody that when she took it before her coffee or like with it, she had really bad GI distress, but when she moved it to later in the day, she was fine. So I think this is just another great point that we're all different in how things act in our body. And while supplements can be great for the general population, it's always good to do your due diligence and then kind of take note of how it reacts in your body. Now, on that train of thought, someone also sent me a message that she takes a cholesterol medication and found she was having an allergic issue between that and her magnesium. And this points to the previous video. And I said this yesterday. If you have some other coexisting comorbidities or diagnoses or prescription medicines, I certainly, of course, recommend you do your own due diligence as well as speak to your prescribing doctor and just make sure it's okay, or that you both are monitoring that change together. We're all different. We have different physiologies. While most of these supplements are fine and well tolerated by the generally healthy person, that doesn't mean there aren't outlier experiences and things in physiology that make some people not tolerate it. Just like people have dairy sensitivities and gluten and those sorts of things. So again, just a general disclaimer for anything. I love sharing this, but also read about it yourself and check. Now, the other common question is whether magnesium citrate is okay to take in the long term if it creates dependency. My understanding was and is that it's fine and it does not cause issues. But because I would never want to put information out that would be harmful to you, I went and I asked Dr. Barb, who only talks about magnesium, and I said, hey, like, I want to make sure that I'm saying things are accurate. This was my understanding from the research I had done. And she agreed it's okay to use it long term, does not create dependence, and then also echoed the same thing that I'm going to say is getting to the root cause of why is also important. So aside from just citrate, it's for prolapse, we're talking about you need to have water and 25 to 30 grams of fiber and movement and address underlying pelvic floor tension that might be creating constipation, and using a squatty potty to elevate your feet so that you have better bowel movements. And one of the reasons I like the magnesium citrate and gravitated towards that over just a plain citrate plus my glycinate is that it's 55 milligrams of citrate and 80 milligrams of malate. So when I take that with the glycinate of my total that I'm getting toward my RDA, the citrate is a small portion of that, the least of those two, which for me, in my body, gives me a perfect stool consistency. It's not hard and it's not soft, it's just right. So now you know everything about me that might be too much information. But it really is about finding that perfect consistency between your diet and all of these other things. And while you're working on root cause things and leave the term, for sure, love it, great. But if you are on a long-term basis struggling with constipation, it's really a good thing to consider.